I'd like to call the Tuesday, November 19th, 2013 Papillion City Council meeting to order. Mrs. Butler, would you please take the roll?
Florence, Mumgard, Gaines, Glover, Jaworski, Klug, Stubbe, Ingberg.
Would you please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance?
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
You gotta be a little bit. Thank you. And do we have an affidavit of publication on file?
That is correct.
And a current copy of the Open Meeting Act is posted in the back of the council chambers. We tentatively have one presentation. Is the Mayor's Youth Council representatives here? Go ahead. We're going to go ahead and did you want to present on this Halloween safe night? Okay, go ahead and come on up. They're going to talk about the Halloween safe night. And if you'd introduce yourselves for everybody.
I'm Bobby Larson.
And I'm Riley Herrenbrook.
What school do you guys go to?
I go to Papillion, La Vista South.
My parents are divorced, so I go to Beetle Middle School in Millard.
So for Halloween Safe Night, that was on October 24th at Papillion, La Vista South High School. The Mayor's Youth Council always participates in that, and it was from 6 to 8 p.m. that day, but we had people lined up already at 5:45. It's always a really popular event.
The Youth Council has assisted with Halloween Safe Night for several years. These pictures were taken a couple of years ago. Chris Harlow, Will Jones, and Mason Zinzer.
And this event gives kids and families a safe way to participate in the Halloween holiday. And we have a slideshow that isn't up there right now. But, yeah. We're on the next one, I think. Or one more. Forwards. Yeah, this one. Okay, thank you.
During Halloween Safe Night, student and council leaders decorate doors, dress up, and hand out candy to the kids. This past October, we served over 600 kids. The kids not only get candy, but also get to play games, jump in bounce houses, decorate pumpkins, and participate in costume contests. Every year, it gets bigger and bigger.
And then the next slide we have just sums up everything that we had. We had 600 kids who visited, and we gave out 3,000 pieces of candy total during the night.
This event is not just limited to that one night. Parents have the option of bringing a canned food item. This year we filled up the recreation department van with food and supplies for people in need. The food items and supplies go to Heartland Family Services.
And then for our next slide, we would like to thank the Papillion Recreation Department and the Papio South Key Club for allowing us to participate, as well as Jennifer Colbeck and the staff from the Rec Department and the Papillion Police and Fire Departments. And then, of course, all the kids, parents, and families who turn out for this event every year and help us out there. So thank you to all of you for your support.
I want to thank you guys for everything you do as well.
Right,
Thanks. Mr. Hoynes, Administrator's Report, please.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, members of the council. I begin my report this evening with an update on a development that has some far-reaching residual impact on some issues we've been trying to resolve for a very long time. If you recall in the update that I gave you probably about 3 or 4 weeks ago with all the new development, one in particular, Southbrook, is a 191 lot, proposed residential lot at the corner of 108th and Schramm Road, directly, I guess, west of the amphitheater area in there. One of the concerns of that area has always been the lack of a paved road from Papillion Vista South, the south end, down to Schramm Road, and then Schramm Road back to the east from 108th to somewhere around prior to 96th Street. We've been, and that development has received approval, preliminary plat approval from the Planning Commission. They're wanting to move that forward to you folks by January. And so staff has been meeting with them and trying to be very creative, for lack of a better term. We're pretty, well, we've insisted that road be paved. And there are multiple parties involved in that, from multiple government organizations, the city, the county, the rural fire district, future development. There's a lot of opportunity there to get this done. And the developer's been very agreeable, and I just want to put that on your radar screen to let you know that we put that mandate out there, and I think we're going to get there. I feel pretty good after meeting yesterday that we'll be able to accomplish that. So if you have a different idea or opinion, direction we should go, or if you get any questions about that and want more detail, please feel free to give me a call, or Jeff, or somebody else that's involved in this project. Also, I did, late last week, briefed you and provided you a copy of a letter of testimony that Mayor Black provided at Legislative Resolution 268. That's a legislative resolution that was introduced by Senator Smith on behalf of, quite frankly, the development community in Sarpy County. And I say development community, 3 developers, substantial developers, many of who are listed on those 1,109 homes that I provided you a couple weeks ago, have indicated to us, and we would tend to agree with the information we get, that quite frankly the school boundary, the frozen boundary issue, is having a negative impact on economic development in the entire southern half of Sarpy County. And so that hearing was intended as a combination of the Urban Affairs Committee and the Education Committee at the legislature to try and resolve those issues. You've got really the 2 key components of the learning community, and for the record, we have never, you as a body, have never taken a position, or Mayor Black has never taken a position on the learning community, but there's certainly cause and effect. And so that 3.5-4 hour hearing heard testimony from government officials, school officials. You got the boundary issue, and you got the common levy issue, and it really is a catch-22, looking at it from everybody's perspective. But again, to let you know, most importantly, that issue is out there, and that it is certainly slowing economic development in Sarpy County, and that Senator Smith has agreed to work with us to find a solution. And we have been, for quite frankly months, working with the city of Springfield on what that area would look like as we grow together, and obviously have a very good relationship with those folks. But at some point we're going to try to bring back together, we want to resolve the municipal issues and the county issues in terms of land development, and then engage in a dialogue for a potential solution for everybody's, because it's probably the most pressing issue we're facing right now as a city and facing growth, and so we're spending a lot of time on that. Finally, another project that is taking up a fair amount of time is the 911 merger discussions. You're all aware that in July, university came out with a study that said that there could be significant cost savings by Sarpy and Douglas County merging into one 911 center. Late July, the elected officials, mayors, county board chairs, had charged the administrators from the various counties and municipalities involved with putting together a structure, both financing and governing structure, on what that may look like. We've met multiple times, and we have what I would classify as at least at our administrative level, a final meeting this week to give some more proposals. And I will tell you that the United Cities and Papillion have provided multiple iterations of how this thing could work, and it is substantial savings to work. We're not talking a few $1,000s, we're talking millions of dollars. And so we've certainly taken a position it's something we should pursue, but at this point It's going to go beyond the administrative level and probably into the elected official level on what the issues are surrounding that. And so I'm going to take a few minutes to brief you on that Chris Myers in particular has done a lot of work on the financial analysis. And I feel pretty confident in saying that there's millions of dollars on the savings. The study says it. When it does elevate into the elected official level, you certainly may be approached and asked what's going on. And so I certainly will take any time that you want or desire to explain the details. It's not simple, but as I've said in many of the meetings, we're not building a bomb here, people. We're building a 911 center, and we can do this if there's the will to do it. But there are some complications, so we're trying to work through those. Finally, a lighter note, please don't forget that Friday after Thanksgiving, Winter Wonderland, Tony and his staff have been out there. Dutifully, I got an email from Tony today that said, Winter Wonderland, done. And Tony has several goals each year as a parks director, and number one goal always is when the light switch goes on, the lights better come on, Tony. Saturday, I'm sorry. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. It's Saturday after Thanksgiving. When the light switch goes on, the lights better come on, Tony. And he's assured me that they will. So I'd like to see all of you out there. That concludes my report, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you very much. Next is a consent agenda. Do we have a motion to approve consent? Motion by Councilwoman Klug, second by Councilman Jaworski. Do we have any proponents? Do we have any opponents? Any council discussion? Please vote.
7 yeas, 0 nays.
Motion passes, and I just want to make a specific note on item C6. I think you're all updated on this, but this is specific to SID 38 and the water connection. This is just more for public education since this is televised. Wells are always a hot topic, and we had a lot of well discussion at the last council meeting, and we tend not to allow wells within the jurisdiction because of the public and the safety issues that Mr. Mumgard articulated last meeting. But we have, I believe it's 3 small areas that have community well systems, and that's a specific designation by the state of Nebraska what a community well system is. And we've got some special accommodation for community well systems and over time how they connect to the city and how we migrate to that. And SID 38 Highland Estates is the primary one that we've been working with over the course of probably 2 years. They've been the SID and the community well system that we've been talking about of how do these systems logically work together so when they grow together they logically fit, they have their place, but then they also have an end of life, and how do we handle that transition? And that's where the changes to the rate structure came in place about a year ago, the emergency connection and that type of thing. So SID 38 has been great to work with over the last 2 years, and this is actually the approval of their emergency connection. So just wanted to publicly thank them for all of the work in helping us to find that. It's been a very good process. Next is item D1, Ordinance 1675, an ordinance to amend in its entirety Chapter 117, Fireworks of the Papillion Municipal Code, having to do with fireworks, the general provisions and licensing and sale of fireworks, and to provide for an effective date. Is there a council member that will introduce? Introduced by Councilman Glover. Next is item D2, Ordinance 1676, an ordinance to the City of Papillion, Nebraska, authorizing the issuance of general obligation various purpose bonds, Series 2013 of the City of Papillion, in the principal amount not to exceed $1,425,000, $1,425,000, if I didn't state that appropriately, to pay the costs of certain improvements within the street and paving district number 12-01 of the city, prescribing the form of said bonds, providing for the levy of taxes to pay the same, and ordering the ordinance published in pamphlet form. Is there a council member that will introduce? Introduced by Councilman Ingberg. Just because of as we always do with bonds, because of the interest rates in the market, we are asking for a waiver of the second and third readings, and that does require a supermajority vote. So do we have a motion to approve the waiver of the second and third readings?
I'll make a motion to waive the second and third readings.
Motion by Councilman Ingberg, second by Councilwoman Klug. Do we have any proponents? Do we have any opponents? Any council discussion? Please vote.
7 yeas, 0 nays.
Motion passes, so the second and third are waived. So do we have a motion to approve ordinance 1676? Motion by Councilman Ingberg. Second by Councilman Jaworski. Do we have any proponents? Mr. Leffler, I know, is here if you have any questions. Do we have any opponents? Any council discussion? Please vote.
Seven yeas, 0 nays.
Motion passes, and Mr. Leffler will get us very, very low interest rates. Thank you very much for that. Item next is item D3, ordinance 1678, an ordinance authorizing the issuance of highway allocation fund pledge bonds of the city of Papillion, Nebraska, series 2013, in the principal amount not to exceed $775,000 for the purpose of paying the costs of constructing certain street improvements in the city, prescribing the form of said bonds, pledging the funds to be received by the city from the state of Nebraska Highway Allocation Fund for the payment of the bonds, providing for the levy and collection of taxes to pay the same if necessary, providing for the sale of the bonds, authorizing the delivery of the bonds to the purchaser, and providing for the disposition of bond proceeds, and ordering the ordinance published in pamphlet form. Again, do we have a council member that will introduce?
I'll introduce and also make a motion to waive the second, third readings.
Do we have a second? Second by Councilman Klug. Do we have proponents? Any opponents? Council discussion? Please vote on the waiver.
7 yeas, 0 nays.
Do we have a motion to approve ordinance 1678? Motion by Councilman Ingberg, second by Councilman Jaworski. Do we have any proponents? Again, Mr. Leffler is here. Any opponents? Council discussion? Please vote.
7 yeas, 0 nays.
Thank you for all your work, Bruce. Appreciate it greatly. Next is item E1, ordinance 1674, an ordinance to amend the official zoning map of the city of Papillion adopted by ordinance number 1606 by changing boundaries of the zoning map of the city of Papillion in accordance with section 205-32 of the Papillion City Code to rezone certain real property within the zoning jurisdiction of the city of Papillion, Sarpy County, Nebraska, legally described as tax lot 18 in the southeast quarter of the southwest quarter of section 25, township 14 north, range 12 east of the 6 p.m. Sarpy County, generally located at 11050 South 66th Street from agricultural AG to community commercial CC, and to provide for an effective date. This is in regards to, this is South Ridge Valley. This is a public hearing. I'll open the public hearing. Do we have any proponents? I know we've got some people here. I don't know if you publicly wanted to say anything. Do we have any opponents? Go ahead and close the public hearing. Next is item F1, Resolution R13-0191, a public hearing and a vote. A resolution to approve a preliminary plat for the property legally described as being a replatting of tax lot 15A and tax lot 18 and part of tax lot A, lying within the southwest quarter of section 25, together with that part of tax lot 20 and part of tax lot F, lying within the northeast quarter of the northwest quarter of section 36, township 14 north, range 12 east of the 6th p.m. Sarpy County, Nebraska, generally located at 11050 South 66th Street. The applicant is Southridge Church of the Assemblies of God, Inc. It's a public hearing. I'll open that. Do we have any proponents? And the applicant is here. Do we have any opponents? I'll close the public hearing. Do we have a motion to approve Resolution R13-0191? Motion by Councilman Gaines. Second by Councilman Stube. Any council discussion? Ms. Klug.
I just have a question. A lot of times when we're approving buildings and new things that involve a lot of parking lot, we try to ask them to put the parking lot so it's not all directly on a street. And if I'm looking at this correctly, it looks like we've got an awful lot of parking right on the street, realizing it's not one of our main ones, but was there any consideration to that, hiding the parking just a little bit better, or
Mr.
are there any
Sturzman,
things?
can you address that?
I would just say that's an excellent comment. It wasn't part of the proposal, and it hasn't really been discussed in this instance.
Is it too late to ask them to reconsider that, to relocate that? Because I'm not seeing a lot of trees or berming or anything. It looks like it's road and parking lot.
Sure, and I think I
Even
should I should clarify that this is, they're going through a platting process. The site plan that they've provided is very basic to give an illustration of what their intent is. It's not, they're not nearly to the point of where they've been actually designing the building or the site or things like that. I know they have been working through a lot of floodplain issues, and so I think they laid out a site plan just to verify to themselves and to us that they could actually fit a building and the necessary parking on the site. But in terms of specific site design and building permit, that would come later once they know that they have approval to actually construct on the site.
So really, there's lots of time for that to be a consideration as they continue to bring these things forward. So I guess my request then more is, can we try to work with them to try to keep to the same building standards that we've placed other places?
Mm-hmm. Yes, we can, and that's a good comment.
Thank you.
Any other council discussion? Please vote.
7 yeas, 0 nays.
Motion passes. Next is item F2, Resolution R13-0192, a resolution to approve a final plat for the property legally described as a replatting of parts of lots 2, 3, 4, and 5, Huntington Park East, a subdivision in Sarpy County, Nebraska, together with all the vacated Olson Drive adjacent to lots 2, 3, and 4, Huntington Park East, located in the southeast quarter of Section 35, Township 14 North, Range 12 east of the 6 p.m. Sarpy County, Nebraska, generally located at 739 Olson Drive. Applicant is Bill Black, TBS Investments. Do we have a motion to approve Resolution R13-0192? Mr. Ingberg.
I'll make a motion contingent upon consistency with the comprehensive plan and compliance with the subdivision regulations.
Yep. Do we have a second? Second by Councilwoman Klug. Any proponents? And the applicant is here. Do we have any opponents? Council discussion? Please vote.
7 yeas, 0 nays.
Motion passes. Next is item F3, Resolution R13-0194. A resolution to approve applications for the 2013 winter fireworks season, December 29th through December 31st. Applications received include Bellino Fireworks, Don Bellino, Papillion Spirit Football, Lee Jokumsen, Wild Willie's Fireworks, West Fulton, and Echo Softball, Sam Sortino. Do we have a motion to approve Resolution R13-0194? Motion by Councilman Jaworski. Second by Councilman Stubbe. Do we have any proponents? And I know some of the applicants are here as well. Do we have any opponents? Any council discussion? Please vote.
7 yeas, 0 nays.
Motion passes. Next is item F4, Resolution R13-0196. A resolution to authorize final payments to the District Court for judgments entered in condemnation appeal, Pinnacle Enterprises, Inc. versus the City of Papillion, case number C108-1044. Do we have a motion to approve Resolution R13-0196? Motion by Councilman Jaworski. Second by Councilman Glover. Any proponents? Any opponents? Council discussion? Please vote.
7 yeas, 0 nays.
Motion passes. Next is committee reports. I don't think any committees have met, but prior to the next council meeting, public facilities will probably meet, so be expecting that. Do we have any comments from the floor? See, we have some youth here. If you're from Mr. Keller's class, you want to come introduce yourselves? A couple of them are looking at me and saying, why would I do that? Got to stand up and come up to the podium and introduce yourself. Or it affects your grade. Come on up. Just line up. They're not going to do it. Just line up behind her. You get extra points for being the leader.
Okay, I'm Nicole
Nicole.
Schomer.
Okay, I'll let him know.
I'm Kyle Kassoon. I'm Vin Lapke.
I'm Ian Duffy.
I'm Maggie Sutton.
I'm Jonathan Roth.
I'm Sarah Talty.
I'm Megan Hanner.
Thanks for coming out. Everybody else in the audience, Mr. Keller's a government teacher at Papillion La Vista South, and he's got a requirement students go to government meetings. He's a great teacher, so thank you. Any other comments from the floor? Any council comments? Mr. Glover, can you turn your mic on? Okay.
Yeah. I had conversation with you last week or 2 weeks ago, I guess maybe it was, about sending council members the agendas for and meeting times of all the other boards that meet. If
We'll get that started.
Done, that'd be great.
You bet. Any other council comments? Just a few updates from the last couple of weeks. We had the ribbon cutting for Jimmy John's, and then at the same time up at Midlands Place, Agonize had their soft opening, so they are open to the public even though they haven't had their ribbon cutting yet. Had a great ceremony, and thank you to all the council for Veterans Park renaming. That was a great event with a very good turnout. Also was the guest speaker at the American Legion's Veterans Day ceremony, and Mr. Ingberg was there as well, so thank you for that. And then we had a good event with La Vista. The La Vista Community Foundation hosted a Veterans Day, and I think we had close to 306 people showed up for a free Veterans Day dinner, and that was a wonderful ceremony as well. Mr. Hoynes mentioned that myself and Mr. Sturzma testified with the legislature for LR 268 on the boundary issues, and also attended the Midlands Business Journal's 40 Under 40, had a couple of Papillion residents that were recognized there. And then Mr. Sturzma and I have met with a couple of different developers about downtown and the comprehensive plan and everything going on downtown. And I've also given a couple of tours to some developers that maybe be interested in some concepts with the Public Works Garage. Nothing solid, but at least interest is in the market for maybe how would that be repurposed. So that's been very good. Also, if you saw the World Herald today, there was an article on the bus route 93 and how that's been changed and ridership is up. And I think that was a very good article, and we actually got a thank you letter from one of the citizens for the action related to that, and I gave you a copy of that as well. Reminder that the hotel is having a groundbreaking Friday morning at 9. Hopefully come out and support that. That's a big deal for Papillion. And then shortly after that, 11:30, Firestone's having a ribbon cutting down there at Shadow Lake. Marty, snow's gone its way. No. So any forecast from a Public Works and plowing and what Friday is going to look like, or Thursday night? Nothing. That's a good thing. Nothing you can't handle. Do want to thank you in advance for the great work you guys do. Reminder again, Winter Wonderland, Saturday the 29th. That's always a great thing, and that does draw people to downtown, so that's not just fun lights. It's actually got a economic development. Saturday the 30th. Thank you very much. And a huge thank you to the Personnel Committee. I think you were all aware of the fundraiser for Jameis Hafseth. If you're not aware, and again, just take an opportunity since this is televised, Jameis is the son and a grandson of a couple of city employees, and he is allergic to all food. They've only found one safe formula that he can have that he does not react to, and there's been a change in that formula and they can't get it anymore. So if they can't find a substitute, basically goes into the hospital for IV nutrients, and that's not a good solution. And so between media awareness and awareness that the Personnel Committee has made, they have uncovered 40 more cans of his nutrition, which adds 6 weeks of food for him. And that translates to about 3 or 4 food trials to try and find another food. So that was a major thing. But they've actually, through that awareness, they've actually raised about $30,000, and $20,000 of that was the event that the Personnel Committee put on. So huge thank you to the Personnel Committee and all of the work related to that. That money will go to help them on food trials. There's some travel, I think, to Pittsburgh. So it'll help fund that. It'll help fund some awareness, and it'll also help uncover other, if there's existing product in the market, help find that so it can add some more good to his life there. So thank you again to the Personnel Committee for rallying. Any other comments? Do we have a motion to adjourn? Motion by Councilwoman Klug. Second by Councilman Glover. Please vote.
7 yeas, 0 nays.
We are adjourned.